This is the third part of my series on road tripping. The previous two videos were mostly focused on being ready to prevent and respond to emergencies. This video, however, will take a lighter tone, offering suggestions and reminders of some helpful items to pack to have a fun experience. Road tripping is supposed to be enjoyable, and these items will help your trip be just that. When you're packing for your destination, you may want to add a few extra items in as well, or at least make sure that you include some of the things on the following list. These items can make your trip a lot more comfortable and enjoyable, and are sometimes easily forgotten. Make sure you stock up on snacks and drinks. Having snacks and drinks can allow you to stay more awake while you drive. A little burst of sugar can help you get to your destination when you're getting a little bit lethargic and need just a tiny bit of motivation or energy to get to where you're going. There have been many times when I've been driving and have become somewhat drowsy, and pulling over to eat a quick snack has allowed me to continue driving for several more hours, although I wouldn't necessarily recommend that if you're feeling very drowsy. Snacks and drinks can also help you just get to your destination in a safer manner. Even if you're not feeling drowsy, they help keep you a little bit more alert and focused on what you're doing. You can also consider having at least 1 or 2 caffeinated drinks in your vehicle in case you need a tiny burst just to get that last little bit to wherever you're going for the night. It's best not to rely on caffeine for long stretches because it does wear off, but having a little bit of caffeine available can help push you over the edge to make those last few miles to wherever you need to go. Stocked up on your snacks and drinks? You'll want to put them somewhere, and one of the best places to put them is in a cooler or a car fridge. Coolers are great. They will work in any vehicle, and most people have one, and they're pretty cheap. The best thing to do with a cooler is to get dry ice if you can, because then you won't end up soaking all of your food, and you can bring a lot of things that are just not reasonable to bring with a traditional ice-based cooler system. Anything that would potentially get soaked really can't go in a regular cooler with regular ice. Therefore, dry ice can expand your options significantly. Just be sure that you use gloves or blankets or towels or something to handle the dry ice when you're putting it into your cooler, and that you avoid touching it after it's already been placed. A good tip is to put the dry ice at the very bottom of your cooler, place a blanket over the top, and put all your food items on top. This will work fairly well for anything that requires refrigeration. For freezing, you'll want to put that underneath the dry ice, and you'll need to be very, very careful as you'll need to remove the dry ice in order to access these frozen food items. You might be asking yourself, what is a car fridge? A car fridge is a refrigerator, essentially, that is designed for use in a vehicle. I have one in my van, and it is the best purchase I've ever made, other than a battery to run it. Now, you don't need a separate battery to run a car fridge. Most of them will work off of a 12-volt socket, like pretty much any car has. But having a separate battery allows me to not use my 12-volt socket for this purpose, so it makes my life a little easier. No matter what kind of car you have, there is a car fridge that could work for you. There are very, very small ones, all the way up to large dual-chambered ones that allow you to run a fridge and freezer at the same time. Car fridges also have the benefit of having perfectly temperature-controlled chambers that allow you to set them to either fridge or freezer for many of them, and control the temperature exactly. There's even a car fridge bottle that will make ice cubes for you, which is pretty handy if you like that. The car fridge I have has 2 separate chambers, one of which is dedicated as a freezer and one of which is dedicated as a fridge. I don't always run my freezer because I don't always have frozen food items, and in those cases I can either leave it completely off to save a little bit of power, or turn it into a fridge section for added storage. This has significantly improved my life and allows me to bring, well, real foods with me. I've made entire meals in this van just because I have a fridge to carry all the ingredients. Me and my husband get box delivery meals, and we always try to bring at least one with us on longer trips so that we can have a healthy meal while we're out on the road. This is only really possible because of our car fridge. If we had a traditional cooler, bringing all these ingredients would be a lot more difficult. The nice thing about car fridges is they're more efficient than your regular fridge. They don't use that much energy, and you can control that temperature a lot better, and you never have to worry about ice melting and getting your food nasty or burning yourself on dry ice, which is great. They are a little more expensive, but the cost is worth it. The next thing you want to make sure you have is all your toiletries. Bringing your own toiletries can not necessarily be necessary, but can make your life a lot better. It can also save you from some embarrassing and stressful situations depending on what you bring. Some of the things I make sure that I have are soap, hand sanitizer, toilet paper, paper towels, my toothbrush, toothpaste, and any flossing or mouthwashing things that I want, my own deodorant. In the past, I would bring feminine hygiene products, although I no longer need those, so I don't bring them anymore, but this is good to have if you do have that need. I don't have this need anymore, but birth control products are also very helpful to have. And even if you can't get pregnant, condoms can be a helpful addition to this bag. Shampoo and conditioner or dry shampoo. Baby wipes, which are way more useful than you think. Side note, even if you don't have a baby, bring some baby wipes. They're great for basic road showers if you can't actually get to a real shower, for wiping hand sanitizer off your hands because it kind of tastes nasty. And if you have to eat in your car, you don't want to taste hand sanitizer, it's gross. For wiping your face off so that you feel a little bit more clean, and various other uses. If you have them, you'll find a use for them. Depending on your car, you may also consider having, well, a pee bottle or some other toilet bag. This is definitely an optional item, but if you have the ability to have one, it can very much improve your life. Not all places have great toilets or have a lot of toilets, or you might find that you are many miles between toilets. Although if you stick to major interstate highways, you will probably not have this problem. Many places don't have rest stops, and it sucks. If you have a larger vehicle, having a pee bottle, or if you have a penis, because let's be real, you don't really need a larger vehicle for this purpose, having a pee bottle can very much improve your life. It allows you to not worry about where the next bathroom is, and allows you to be responsible for your own waste. If you are a female, it can be helpful to have either a funnel or a pee cone to help use the bottle. You may also consider getting toilet bags. Toilet bags are used with wilderness toilets to turn waste products into gel. Although I try to avoid using ours as much as possible, there have been a couple of times when we've been in the desert where, by the way, you're not supposed to just dig a hole and bury it because it will never go away. And they've been rather helpful. If you're going anywhere that is a desert area, I do suggest you have them, even if you're planning to stay in hotels or whatever, and you're not really worried about not being able to sit on a regular toilet. We don't want to have an impact on the ecosystems we're traveling through, and having a few of these available can significantly reduce your impact on these areas. These can also be helpful if you're traveling somewhere where digging and burying your poop is just not possible, such as rocky areas or, I don't know, there's lots of places. Snowy areas, all kinds of places. You can buy these either in singles or as a pack and throw just a few in your car so that you have them just in case of emergencies. One thing to consider if you do have a pee bottle or poop bags, it can be helpful to have a separate dedicated tote to put these in. It helps to keep all this stuff separate from your regular luggage so that you don't have to worry about your pee bottle or your poo bags touching things. It just makes your life a little easier, I promise. If you have issues with mobility, you can also consider getting the actual portable toilet that the poo bags go with, as it will make your life a lot easier since you won't have to fully squat down to go if you're in a camping or wilderness situation. You'll also want to make sure that you have your prescriptions and any medications with you. The last thing you want is to get a few hours out of town and realize, I forgot my necessary daily prescription. Depending on what kind of effects you have from not having your prescription, it can ruin a trip. You don't want to have to turn around and add several hours to your trip to go back and get it. And depending on what kind of prescription you have, you aren't always able to just refill it wherever either, or whenever. One of the medications I'm on is a controlled substance, which there are many prescriptions that are controlled substances that have these same rules. As a result, if I were to lose my prescription, forget my prescription, whatever, I can't just call up my doctor and have her call it a new one. I would need a police report proving that it was stolen, which if I just forgot it, it wasn't. and I would need to be able to provide that in physical copy to them to get a new prescription. This is not always possible and can really suck to do. This prescription is also only refillable within a short window around when the prescription is due. Thus, I'd be fucked. As a result, I would suggest that you make sure you bring your prescription with you, as I make sure I always do. There were some smaller road trips in the past where I forgot it, and yeah, I turned around and went home to get it. It was not fun. Thus, if you're on any medication where you're required to take it on a daily basis, or even semi-regularly sometime during the trip, you'll want to make sure you have it available. Don't forget that shit. As I said in the safety kit, you may also want to bring more than the amount that you actually need for the trip you're actually on. Controlled substances can be difficult to get extras of, but if you're going on a trip somewhere between your prescriptions, you'll generally have enough to bring a couple extras with you, even if they don't live in your safety kit. Side note, if you're on a methadone program, you have additional considerations, since that is probably one of the most controlled medications you can possibly be on. You will probably need to guest dose, which means that there's some planning you're going to need to do. You're going to need to know your exact route, when you're leaving, what days you're going to be in which locations, guaranteed no wiggle room, and you're going to need to know this probably a month before you leave. Setting up guest dosing can take time. I did it before for my job, and it was a nightmare. Point is, you don't want to be left canceling your trip or going through withdrawals because you didn't figure it out. By the way, if you just go off methadone, you're going to have problems when you come back. So don't do that either. Talk to your counselor ahead of time so you can get it set up and not have to worry about it. And talk to them early. Not a couple days before, not a week before. At least a month notice is good. They may also consider giving you some temporary carries. This can help you get to a dosing location at your final destination, and they may even approve for you to get carries for the drive back, since you aren't necessarily going to know where you're going to be in between those 2 points. Finally, if you have any non-prescription medications, make sure you have those with you as well, since if you're taking them regularly or you really, really need them, you don't want to be fucked if you forgot them. Although non-prescription medications can be easier to get at your destination, you may not be able to find them on your route. And if you need them while you're driving, it's not always the easiest thing to get a hold of. Whether you're sleeping in your car or sleeping at a hotel, you'll want to bring your own blanket and pillow. Having a blanket and pillow can be useful in many, many situations for both safety and comfort. In my Prius, I had leather-ish seats, which meant that they got really, really hot. Having a blanket in my car allowed me to cover the seats up and make them a much cooler temperature during summer months. I also have had cars that had shitty seats that were not comfortable to sit in. Having a pillow available that you can just shove under your bum can help make the drive a lot more comfortable for you, so you're not having to get up to stretch every 30 minutes or so. You don't want to be in pain while driving. It's very distracting and sucks. Before you leave your high-speed internet, you should consider downloading some things to listen to. Although you might have service the entire trip, which, wow, you're really impressive. That never happens to me. You will want to have some things downloaded, just in case that's not actually true. Pretty much every trip I go on, I have service for 20 to 50% of it. It's not much, and having downloaded things allows me to seamlessly listen to things as I go. My one tip is to make sure that what you're downloading is engaging. You want the thing you're listening to help you focus on what you're doing and to stay awake, not to drown you to sleep or make you feel, oh, I'm just so sleepy, or be overly distracting. Know what kind of person you are before you make that decision. Here are some suggestions and my advice on what to download. Podcasts are the best. They have many, many topics. You can download a lot of them without using up too much space on your phone, and they're generally pretty engaging to listen to. If you find that a particular podcast is just not doing it for you, you can switch to another fairly easily without using too much of your mental power to change it. Or if you have someone else in the car with you, you can make them change it for you, and most people can figure out a podcast app. Podcasts can allow you to engage your brain just the right amount to where you can focus on driving and also focus on that so you don't get sleepy. They also expect that you're listening to them only, which means that they're not going to necessarily talk about things that are happening on video, such as something that was a video that was downloaded would. Music is not a great choice. Although some music can be energizing for periods of time, after a certain point, I find that I drown music out. Music is good for short stretches, but not long road trips. Although you can have some music available to make your life a little easier, it's not the best thing in the world. I actually almost never listen to music while driving on road trips because I find that it is just too calming, no matter what it is. I listen to EDM a lot and it puts me to sleep when I'm on a road trip, so generally not a great idea. Know yourself though, and you can always download some music, but don't plan on relying on it solely. I do suggest that you download podcasts or some other more engaging media just in case you find that music is, well, not stimulating enough. YouTube and some other streaming services do allow you to download videos to your phone. With YouTube Premium, you can even listen to these videos without having your screen open. This can be good, but it depends on what you're downloading and how often you're going to have to baby it. A lot of things on YouTube are designed on a 15-ish minute format. Not me so much, but a lot of stuff. These 15-minute increment videos are great. They're short and easy and whatever, but that means that you're going to have to worry about what's coming on next every 15 minutes, which is not so good. Some streaming services do allow you to download things as well, so you can download longer shows or even movies and then make sure the screen is down and not visible while you're listening to them. However, if it's a movie you've never seen before, you have the chance that you'll actually want to watch it, and you'll be tempted to flip that little screen up and look at it, which is not great. Or if it is a movie you have seen before, you might not be engaged enough to necessarily be focused on being awake. Therefore, be cautious with video things that you download, but you can download some just to have as alternatives if you run out of podcasts or, whatever. But they're not the best thing in the world. As I said, although there's some risk of becoming overly distracted by your media, it is much more likely that you're going to become drowsy from many, many, many miles of the same exact road, and you're going to want to fall asleep. As a result, make sure that you have engaging media available because it's more likely you're going to get drowsy than anything else. Finally, you'll want to make sure you pack some warm clothes. Most people road trip during the summer, and it might seem that this is weird advice. However, things may be colder than you expect. You may stop somewhere that has colder weather than you thought, or you may even find that nighttime is colder than you were thinking. If you're sleeping in your car, having warm clothes can also help to make it more comfortable so that you can actually sleep at night. Me and my husband went to Crater Lake in early summer, and it was still snowing. There were people who were clearly visiting from California who had their kids there with shorts on. The kid was miserable, was trying to cover up their legs with their shirt, and they looked absolutely awful. Point is, bring some warm clothes. You don't want to be miserable like those people. A single warm outfit could have prevented this situation.
This is the end of part 3 in my road trip saga. We have covered getting your vehicle ready, putting together a safety kit, and packing for success. Next time, we will cover some of the things you will need to plan ahead of time. If you would like to be notified when that video comes out, rev the subscribe button and honk the bell to turn on notifications. And don't forget to stay safer out there.